Hello, peoples, it's Landon here. Hope you guys had a good couple of weeks. I thought I'd do a little bit of an update because I've actually had quite a few things happen. First of all, it's really bright in this corner over here, and I do apologize. I can't really close the shades because finally, after 5 months, my windows that I ordered back in December are going to be installed tomorrow, so I'm very excited about that, considering I paid for them back in December. I want them in now. So that will seriously help us out because last winter was crazy. The windows were leaking and frosted and nasty. Last week, I went on vacation with my family, my dad and my sister. We went to Los Angeles area and we had a really good time. Honestly, I didn't want to come back here. We basically flew down there and then we just rented a car for a week. So we were initially going to get a Sebring convertible, just a nice convertible, but nothing over the top. But the Sebring had a really, really crappy trunk space, so we ended up driving a bright blue Ford Mustang convertible. So we were like, oh my god, we're totally over the top. We're these naive Canadians driving this fancy car. But as it turned out, actually our car kind of fit in pretty well. One of the things that my dad wanted to do was drive down the number 1, the Pacific Coast Highway. We drove down to Laguna Beach, Newport Beach, Huntington Beach. We had our hotel in Anaheim. We were at the Knott's Berry Farm. So when we were driving down there, everybody else has Mercedes-Benzes and Ferraris, and honestly, it was living inside a movie. So we also stopped off at San Diego, went to SeaWorld there, had a good time there. We ended up being in this place, it's called Old Town San Diego, and my dad loved it because he felt like he was in Mexico, to the point where he was actually talking Mexican, it was just automatically coming out, and I'm like, Dad, you're still in the United States. So weird. Then my sister wanted to go surfing, so we went to Huntington Beach, which was this huge beach. And not gonna lie, you know how, I don't know, media here kind of portrays Americans to be fat and oh, by the way, okay, every time we went to a restaurant, the servings were massive, okay? We would, it got to the point where we were just ordering a appetizer and 1 meal, and we shared between all 3 of us, and it was more than enough. It was just crazy. We were tipping everyone 30% because we would expect our bill to be $70 for all the food that we get, and it's 45. It's it was crazy. You guys eat so much. It's insane. As I was saying, my sister was gonna go surfing, and I don't know, our media kind of portrays Americans to be fat and self-indulgent and whatever. Seriously, everyone was beautiful at Huntington Beach. I don't know if it was because it was spring break, being that it was Easter break. All these young people that are incredibly fit and they're with their fancy girlfriends, and just thousands of them throughout the beach. It was a very crazy experience. So my sister went surfing, she got tuckered out. While she was doing that, I was actually walking around in the neighborhoods. And of course, being who I am, I'm looking at all these houses that, they say they're in escrow or whatever, they're for sale because they can't afford the mortgage payments anymore. I'm oh, it'd be kind of nice to maybe not have a house on the beach, but have a house a couple blocks away and then walk to the beach. That'd be I'd like to live here, not gonna lie. I'm oh, probably these houses, they're probably going for $300,000. I don't know, something like that. As it turns out, when I came back to Canada, when I looked at these houses, yeah, $1 million and above. So I kind of bursted my bubble that I don't think I can afford to live there. After Huntington Beach, what did we do after that? Oh yes, we drove to, we went to Universal Studios and had a really good time there. My favorite part was actually the Jurassic Park ride, where you see this big T-Rex, it's gonna eat you or whatever, and you're so focused on it that you don't see the big drop coming. So that was my highlight at Universal Studios. Honestly, we were very pleased. Every time I go to the United States, I always have a really good time. But I gotta tell you guys this one story. So we're driving down Santa Monica Boulevard, right? So we're at first we were oh, this is Santa Monica Boulevard, because we just got off of the 101, which is where all the pawn shops, and it's a little bit sketchy in there. And we're oh, this isn't nearly as nice. But as you go down, far, 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 it gets to be pretty high end, pretty nice. Like it seemed to be like sort of like almost like the gay area because there was a lot of like rainbow flags everywhere and I don't know, just really well kept people, so you know that gay people are everywhere. So as we're going down, we're like, oh my gosh, we're entering Beverly Hills. This is so cool. So we're going down Beverly Hills and we find Rodeo Drive, which is actually where I wanted to go. I wanted to see like, you know, like Rodeo Drive, like all the fancy people where they go. And at this point, it's like 5 days into our vacation, and not gonna lie, when we go on vacation, we don't care what the hell we look like. We're like, I had my scruff on my face, and we're wearing ball caps with like sunglasses and like clothes like this, like nothing fancy. And so we're going on Rodeo Drive, and we're like, oh, everybody is like dressed to the nines. It's like we shouldn't really be here, but whatever, we parked. So we're walking down Rodeo Drive and I'm like, maybe it was kind of my attitude, but I'm like, I don't understand any of these stores. I've never heard of them. They look kind of sterile and scary. I'm not going in them. But like we took a walk down and took some photos or whatever. As we're walking back to the car, because we parked in in the lower portion of the Beverly Hills, my dad sees this woman that he recognizes, and so my dad's kind of like, you know, gives her a smile, and she looks at my dad and gives him a smile back, and as she passes on by, my dad's like, Landon, Caitlin, come here. That was Heather Locklear. She looked at me and smiled at me. And so my dad was like all mush for the rest of the day because his 80s like love, like not only did he see her, but she looked at him and like smiled and nodded, so he was all like happy for the day. As we're walking back, we decide to go to like in Beverly Hills, like take a drive around. And of course, when you drive in Beverly Hills, there's nobody on the streets except for like the dog walkers and I don't know, like the gardeners and whatever. So, and not gonna lie, they're all Hispanic. So we're like the only white people that are actually being seen in this neighborhood as we're like, our top is down on our convertible. And so we're driving around and we're amazed by all these houses. We're like, oh my gosh, like, seriously, like, Regina's high-end neighborhood is Wascana View, and Wascana View looks like poo compared to Beverly Hills, seriously. So we're driving around, enjoying ourselves, we're just dying over these houses, and as we're, like, driving down, one of those VIP tour buses goes by, you know, you pay money, and they give you on a tour and be like, yeah, so this is, like, Britney Spears' house, this is, like, Bill Donahue's, like, I don't even know these people, I'm just kind of making them up. So, as we're driving down, we're like the only people there, and the bus goes by, and it kind of parks. So we're driving by, and we kind of look at the bus, and all of a sudden, there's like 20 people, like, in the windows of the bus taking photos of us. We're just like, going crazy. And we're like, what the hell is that all about? Like, crazy paparazzi. And then we kind of thought, well, you know, we're driving a pretty nice sports car with the top down, and like we got baseball caps on and sunglasses and like not shaven at all. Maybe they thought we were like movie stars under the radar or something like that. So overall, like, our experience in the Los Angeles area was really positive. We really enjoyed it. It really wasn't that expensive, being that the Canadian dollar is pretty much on par with like the American dollar right now. So yeah, and then of course when we flew back to Canada, I got like ultra depressed for the next 48 hours because I'm like, to go from palm trees and beautiful people and beautiful weather and beautiful everything to like rusted cars and like grass that's brown and not even any trees, and like you go downtown Regina and there's like nobody there. Back to normal, back to work, and such is life, right? Anyway, so tell me how you guys are doing. And we'll talk to you soon. Have a good day.